The following program may contain strong language and mature content. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello. Happy Thursday. Y'all know I get excited about Friday Junior, so I'm real hype right now. I'm just happy to see y'all. Happy June. We are already halfway through this year. I'm tripped out. I'm like, what's going on? How is time moving so quickly? I hope all of you are well, are safe. You know, we are still in this COVID situation and now monkeypox. If you are here in Los Angeles County, I think we have our second confirmed case. There is stuff like happening all at the same time, and it's a lot. It can be really overwhelming. So I am wishing you health, sanity, peace, safety, all of that as we head into the summertime. I'm NicoleDVick, just in case, like, who's this lady talking? I'm NicoleDVick. Hey. And, you know, we typically talk about issues that impact Black women on this video podcast, this fabulous video podcast. But because it is June and there are two major holidays, we have Father's Day and we have Juneteenth, and they're both on the same day. I felt like, and my co host felt like, let's talk about Black fatherhood and how important our Black men are and our Black fathers are to our communities and to our families. So I got nosy, and I was like, wait, where did Father's Day come from? Where did this whole idea of having Father's Day come from? So I'm going to read to you because, you know, I'm a scholar. I'm in school, so I'm a scholar and I do my research. So I looked up on Britannica.com, and here is the information on the origins of Father's Day. Credit is given to this woman named Sonora Smart Dodd. She's from Spokane, Washington, so just up the coast, north of us. Her father was a Civil War veteran, and he raised her and her five siblings after their mother died in childbirth. She had the idea of Mother's Day as well back in 1909 when she was listening to a sermon. No, I'm saying it wrong, y'all. See, this is what happens when you try to paraphrase and think you're doing something. She is said to have had the idea of Father's Day in 1909 while listening to a sermon on Mother's Day, which at the time was being established as a holiday. So at the time, local religious, supporters were like, this is a great idea. And the first Father's Day was actually celebrated on Juneteenth, June 19th, 1910, which is the birth month of her father. So in 1924, President Calvin Coolidge gave his support to the observance. And in 1966, Lyndon B. Johnson issued a proclamation that recognized the day, and it became a national holiday in 1972. So it's not that long ago. I wasn't alive in 1972, but some people, was, but it wasn't that long ago. Um, we already know the origins of Juneteenth. I believe it was last year that Juneteenth was like kind of finally signed into law and recognized, I suppose, as a federal holiday. Actually, my day job, we get the Monday after Juneteenth off, and it really started in Texas because that was the last state where the enslaved people realized that they were free or were told that they were free, and so it became an observance and an annual celebration of that day. And so just I feel like we finna have Father's Day cookout / Juneteenth cookouts that are going to be epic. I am here for it. If y'all want to invite me, I probably can't eat none of y'all food because I'm vegan. But if y'all want to invite me, I do, drink alcoholic beverages and fruit and stuff like that. Let me know. I want to come through and see y'all. So on behalf of Nicole DVick Live, I want to wish you all a happy Father's Day and a happy Juneteenth. Now, make sure you don't forget now, because if you got a dad, you got to get him a tie or you got to get him something, buy him something. So put it on your calendar so you don't forget to get him something. Because I feel like sometimes y'all do dads wrong. Y'all do mom real good on Mother's Day, but y'all be leaving dad like, whoo, just wrong. So let me bring in my co-host. Producer, can you please bring in my co-host, please? Oh, see, I'm in the back dancing, telling on myself. Excuse me. Hey, girl, how you doing?
I have been cracking up. You are on one on this Friday Junior. I'm like, what is she got going on over there? Can you spread it around?
I feel like for adults, the little things are so exciting, and Friday Junior is like one of the most exciting things ever because we know we have a weekend coming. Like, yay! It's sad. It's really sad, but it is what it is. But the other thing I want to add, we are halfway through the year.
Yeah.
What the hell? What the hell? Like that mean? What the hell?
Yeah.
How you feel about that?
It just means I'm getting older quicker.
I mean, we look. COVID, I feel like once we decide that COVID is over, like I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, but once we decide that, we should just put the clock back to January 1st, 2020. We just start over. Like rewind.
Girl.
It's crazy how fast things are moving. So
yes,
as I said, Juneteenth, Father's Day, same day. Are y'all doing cookout? What y'all doing at the house? Y'all doing a cookout? Because I don't have nowhere to go. My daddy ain't here. He in Arizona. Oh, free-ish.
Free-ish. I'm going to be wearing this t-shirt. I know that
much. Where did you get that shirt?
I'll look and see. I'm trying to remember where I ordered it from, but I'll let you know. I'm addicted to the t-shirts.
I know. Me too. I think you rubbed that off on me. I don't know what happened because it's like I have 2 drawers of t-shirts, but then I don't wear none of the t-shirts. It's weird. Oh. It's weird.
Well, I have.
Are y'all gonna have a cookout?
No.
Wait a minute. You say you have how many what?
I have 5 t-shirt drawers. But I wear my t-shirts.
That's good. I force myself, but see, I work at home, so it's like, who am I wearing?
That's when you don't wear them.
I guess.
Okay, back to the topic. Sorry.
Okay. So,
but no cookout. No cookout.
You ain't. So who house we go to?
We're doing stuff that weekend. We got to do. Kurt wants us to do either breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We got to figure out which one of them we're going to take him to. And then we're doing some other stuff. Mayanna found some event for us to go to. So it's all about him that weekend.
Okay. That's fair. That is fair. I'm actually going to the Hollywood Bowl. They're having that Juneteenth concert, and I had been looking at it, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And then one of my coworkers was like, hey, I want to go. I'm gonna buy a whole bunch of tickets, and so I got 2 tickets, and Alonzo and I are going to go with them to the concert. I was able to get him. I was like, hey, on the 19th, what are you doing? And so we were able to make that happen, which is a huge accomplishment for me. I was proud of
Yeah.
myself.
That's a nice lineup. It's a
So
nice lineup.
yeah. So I'm excited about that. All right. Let's talk
Yes.
about Black Fatherhood. We're going
Yes.
to keep it positive and uplifting. I know there has been a lot of rhetoric that has really kind of pinned Black men and women against each other. We're not doing that today. Maybe tomorrow, not today. We go elevate our Black fathers today. And I want to amplify the Black boy joy. When, like I said, there have been sort of these interesting conversations that have really been like, what is really going on? Your thoughts about Black fatherhood, the importance of Black men um, as parents in our communities and on our family structure. Just want to hear your thoughts.
I think it's important to have a present male figures, whether they are fathers or uncles, they're male figures. I think that's important for both our boys and our girls, right? It's like they need that in their lives, just to help them sort out the world. I think for daughters, it's important to have a good, and it doesn't have to be your biological father. It could be a father figure that's an uncle, older cousin, or whatever, but some of a male figure that can really demonstrate all the good qualities that men, the kings that they are, right? And but then also let them know, help them be aware of, when kings, when their crowns are not hanging like they should, right? What to be aware of. And the women in their lives can tell them based on experience, but having a male figure really say this is the real about what you need to understand about men, I think it's valuable just to have those figures in their lives.
I totally agree. And I think that perspective that they have, I mean, because they definitely have a lot of pressures in this world that we will never understand. I'm not going to even pretend that I would ever understand it. And it's really important for that to be shared with children, like you said, even if it's not the biological, it's the niece, the nephew, whoever it is. That perspective is so very much important and so very valued. And um, I wanted to ask you, who do you think is the father of the Black community? Who is our father? I was like, is it Morgan Freeman? Is it Denzel? Is it Barack Obama? I don't know. Who when you think of our community collectively, who is our resident Black dad?
There's so many. Okay, you say that now. I wasn't thinking about none of them folks you just mentioned. Okay, who came to mind was Leroy.
Yes,
Leroy
absolutely.
Hamilton. Photo him, I call him Leroy. I know other folks refer to him as uncle, but that's who I think about, because who doesn't Leroy know? And he's family, he's community, right? He is that role, that man that you think about when you're growing up, that was always like had the right thing to say, was encouraging, would check you if you needed to be checked, but he was just always real and cool. And
Yeah.
so when I think of community, he is who, that kind of family community model, Leroy comes to mind. And outside of Leroy, the other person I would say would be Bernie, Fran's husband.
Yeah.
I would say would be the other person that comes up for me.
Absolutely. I feel like every neighborhood needs a Leroy or a Bernie. And even who else I thought about besides the celebrity, kind of where I went with it. I also thought about John Jones the third down in Watts, who has the East Side Riders Bike Club. Like, I feel like he's everybody's dad because he really cares about the community. And uses bike riding and cycling as a way to kind of get these kids doing something productive. And I think about Alex Johnson, he has 2 children, of course, but the work that he does in the community. So there are so many Black men. I think of Ken Billups. I don't know if you know who he is and the work that he's done over the years. I met him years ago, and then stuff that he's been working on. So there are so many Black men that have that positive, loving authority, and just like, I don't even know what you call it. It's a swag, but it's not like that, but like in a way that's like, you know what, I trust you. I know that you
Yeah.
have the community in your heart like that. This is something that you care so deeply about. And we actually did ask Leroy to come on and join us, and he was like, no. And I feel like that's Leroy. He's not that guy. You're right. He's everywhere, but at the same time, I don't think he really prefers to be like in the front of stuff. But I think he was, like what? But he was like, no, it's okay. And I'm like, I understand, but we do appreciate him for sure. Who are the 3 most important Black fathers or father figures in your life?
Ooh, I would say my papa was I would say it would be my first. Um, I would say that was the first man I ever loved. He could do no wrong in my eyes. Um, I will say my cousin Cedric was a young father, but I loved watching him with his daughter, now with his son. It's just something about just how he just was as a father and continues to be, and loved watching him with his daughter. Did you say 3?
Yeah, I said 3.
Important. So, watching him. And then I would say, oh my gosh. I guess I'll say Kurt, my husband. It's like, yeah, he has his kids. We have, this blended family with his kids, Myanna with us, but just like how he is with family members, with young kids, and just how he talks to them. He would be my third. But I watch so many fathers. I could think about Corey Gooding with his kids, and like you said, you mentioned Alex with his, and so it's just nice for to see one of my fraternity brothers, Omar, with his kids, and just how proud they are, and watching these kids just grow. It's just amazing, and so I just love seeing that.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important for those images to be placed in the forefront, to be everywhere, for us to continue to see those images, because we can talk about this a little bit deeper later on. There's so much negativity and stereotypes about Black fathers that it actually turns out, I've looked at some studies, actually are not true. Yes, are there some dads that have issues and struggle and aren't doing what they're supposed to do? Of course, but guess what? There's white fathers like that too. There's Latino fathers like that too. But for some reason, when we tend to think of fathers that aren't around, that the brain goes to Black, and it's like, but it's so many examples, and you've named several, where these fathers are here. They are taking care of not only their kids, they are, in a sense, are really taking care of the community and helping to nurture the community. I think for me, my 3, besides my dad, of course, so that's one. I was raised with my mother and father in the same house. And he taught me quite a bit of things. And one thing I just thought about today was he had a telescope, and he liked stars and stuff. And he was the first to kind of expose me to that and to computers. I remember he built our computer, the first computer we had in the house. But my great grandfather, we called him Papo. His name was Rufus Simpkins, and we called him Papo. He was this portly guy. And I didn't even know growing up that he was my step great grandfather. I didn't know that. I don't know. But he taught me how to write checks. He
Mm.
taught me about money. He was the one that would always feed me. Hey, you want some ice cream? You want And I'm like, yeah. The love of food was developed very early in my life. But as I got older, I learned more about what he had done in the community. He was a realtor. He was a property investor. He was a business owner. He had a Shell gas station in South Central Los Angeles. I have photos of that gas station. I have the money statements from the gas station. I have all this stuff, and I go through the Sentinel archives, and I see his picture all through the dang on
Mm.
Sentinel archives, and I'm like, what the heck? And then this other person would be my grandfather, my mother's father, a firefighter, a stentorian, integrated the fire station at LAX so many years ago, like literally Black history in my family. But those were the folks that I, looked up to and loved going to their house on the weekend and just digging through all their stuff. And, they both would pick me up from school. And those were the folks that kept me out of trouble. Not that I was a bad kid, but you know what I mean? They were the
Right.
safety
Yeah.
net.
Yeah.
They were the free childcare. They were the ones that paid my tuition for me to go to parochial school and wear the little uniform. Like they created so much opportunity and really kept me on the road that for where I am today. The
Yeah.
fact that I am able to own property is because of my great grandfather. So it's like
Yeah.
you have to think about whose shoulders you're really standing on, and there's been a lot from the men in my family.
I
Um,
appreciate you say that, right? Because it's like, so you grew up with your mom and dad. My parents separated when I was young. And so, I had a lot of uncles. So, we talked about, thinking of fathers with other children, but I was like, as a being raised predominantly by my mom, but we lived with my grandparents for a while. So I think that's why I had that really close relationship with my grandfather. But I had
mhm.
really good relationships like with my uncles, right? So it's like, one of my mom's the youngest of five, but uncle brother, because they don't call nobody by their name. But uncle brother, it's like that was like I loved, he called me a little black geechee and a little stuff, but I loved that man, right? And then older, my uncle Vernon, one of my aunt's husband, he passed away, but he was like my other uncle that like, he babysit me and my cousin when my mom and out were out. He took us to the dances.
Mhm.
We were playing basketball. He took us to the park to practice and work on our free throws. And, he taught me how to play poker, but he
Wow.
was in, he was invested in me, right? So he always, how was school? How was work? How was
Yep.
whatever? And so I think it's, however we can have positive Black role models in our children's lives, I think is amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And even when there are situations like to your point where, maybe the relationship between the mother and father didn't work out. Andrea's dad and I obviously are not married. Of course, she's 25, she's grown now, but when she was growing up, he was around. We didn't always get along, but you know what? Here's your daughter. And he was there. So no one can ever say, well, yes, he was there. Now, how they interacted and all that that's between the two of them at this time. But there was that commitment from him and his family, his father, right, to try to make sure that everything was okay. So I think that one of the things we have to remember, and again, we'll talk about this later, that even though in some instances the father is not in the home, it does not mean that he's not participating in the children's lives. And so we'll talk about the study that I had kind of came across recently that kind of talks a little bit about that. But yeah, I think we just have to make sure we uplift and support those that are doing. And of course, like I said, there's some that are not. How can we get them back in? Like what's their parable? The Bible. You go back for the sheep. You got to go get him. Like, how can we bring that person back? Or if it's not safe, then maybe it's best. But we do what we
Yeah.
do, and it's gonna be all right. If uncle is there, if grandpa is there, we gonna nurture those relationships and keep it pushing. So we already at the 30-minute mark. Dang, girl. It's
Time
time to go to
flies.
commercial. I mean, it's commercial time. Call me, gonna take this to the commercial. And we're back. So I really wish we could have got a father on here today. They didn't want to come. I don't know. I think that's just some of them just ain't. They don't want to be on no show like this, and I think they prefer to just live their lives. And it's all good. But so let's dig into these stats and kind of see if we can unpack this.
Okay.
Let's see. I found this article. I'm sorry, y'all, if I'm looking over here. That's because I'm trying to make sure I say stuff correctly about this data that I'm looking at. There's a book called All In, and it says 2.5 million of the 4.2 million Black fathers live with their children. So there's a lot of disparity. Sometimes we hear that, Black fathers are absent from the home, or that, our marriage rate is lower than other races. And so, some of that disparity comes to play. And again, I think it perpetuates a stereotype. But I have been given a special announcement in my ear. I'm hearing that we have a special guest. So let's go ahead and bring her on. I got my special in my ears telling me somebody's here. So come on through.
Hey, pretty lady.
Hey, y'all.
How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm in a conference room, so excuse my drab background.
Right. You light up the room. It's all good.
Yeah, I just see you in those earrings. That's all. I just see you in those earrings. That's all I see.
Earrings is like bing, and it's making everything just like glowy.
I love it. I love
So
it. You look great.
So where do we get the earrings from? Can you
I got these earrings I got these in Montgomery. A Black woman owned named Michelle. She does so many amazing things. She has a tour bus. She does like you want to know about Montgomery's history from a Black woman's point of view. She's a feminist. She does all kind of stuff, women's empowerment stuff. She purchased a hospital where Black women where enslaved Black women were performed on by Marion Sims, the OBGYN.
Yeah.
Happened in Montgomery, and she recently purchased that property and is converting it to like a women's healing center. So my Black woman is an artist.
Awesome.
Okay, well, you didn't bring nobody no earrings.
I'm gonna get you some.
Okay, so
I got some stuff. I'm gonna see what I got in my little collection. I'm gonna get you some.
Okay.
If you so everybody, you gotta get her something. The rest, everybody else gotta get stuff too. Okay. All right.
So everyone that is watching, we have Miss Trina Green. She is the founder and executive director of an organization called Parenting for Liberation. She's been on our show before. Glad to have you back, sis, even though you didn't bring us nothing.
I'm by myself. I'm by myself.
That's right. She brought herself. That's
All
right.
right.
All her
Okay.
fabulousness.
So
I got
Shayna,
you.
we talking about Black fatherhood today. I want to hear your thoughts on Black fatherhood. Why is Black fatherhood important to the Black community, to Black families? Let's speak on it because you wrote the book.
I didn't write the book. Listen, I got a book though.
You
called
did
Black
write the
Fatherhood.
book. Oh,
I mean, there's
oh.
a book called Black Fatherhood. I should shout out the author.
Yay.
Dr. Khalid White wrote a book called Black Fatherhood. So he wrote the book. I interviewed with him recently for the podcast. But I love to honor and celebrate Black families in all their shapes and forms, and the way that we look. It's different. We're not a monolith, and a part of our families are Black dads. And yes, there are Black fathers, there are Black dads, and even though statistics and stories and television and stereotypes might say they don't exist, or they're all absentee, or they're all incarcerated, like, yes, there is definitely absenteeism, but our absentee rates are not higher than any other cultural groups, right? But there's there's a whole lot of stories that they don't exist. So I'll be like, yes, Black dads exist. They are present. They are active, more active than any other people's daddies, to be honest. And yeah, I don't know where y'all was in the conversation, so I'm about to just jump in and repeat stuff that y'all already done had said.
No. Because we about to hit on that. And so I think one thing that you said, there are all kinds of Black fathers. There are single Black fathers. I actually knew one. I don't know what happened to the mom. I think she was like, I'm gone. And he surely did raise his son by himself. It was just fine. There are all types of there are all types of Black fathers. And I think that they all deserve support, encouragement, help, love, and all of that. And you're right. The statistics, the stereotype is one thing, but then when we look at the data, it says something else. And honey, if you are ever on TikTok long enough, you will start to come across stories. I've heard there was one that says, tell me you were the least loved child or least favorite child without, tell me the story. And all these white people talking about my dad, kicked me to the curb and was raising his other wife's kids, or my dad did this. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. Y'all stories sound like how they be trying to make our stories sound. So if your experience is like this one, then why do we always get the negative stereotype?
Because who control the media?
That's what I was about to say. I mean, they got to have a negative narrative, right? It's like we can't have intact families, right? That's not what's supposed to happen. There has to be this narrative that we are broken families, right? And we're not broken. We're not broken.
No.
It's crazy.
They want to break us down though, so that they can then infiltrate our communities, our families, and create, child protective services. And do you see it? Like, they want to create these systems because we have these high needs. But if y'all just left us alone to do what we do, we wouldn't need all these systems.
Absolutely. So I'm just saying, TikTok telling on a lot of people these days. I'm like, oh, is that right? Oh, so your daddy did this to you? I said, so your daddy, this white person, your daddy did what? Oh, is that right? So I just be scrolling like, okay, all right.
Listen. Since I'm with my sisters, we can get a little bit real, right? So I was talking to somebody about this whole idea of like absent Black dads and like where that narrative came from. And they were like, if you really think about the Black family here in the US, right, and our history, right, coming through enslavement, the first true absent dad are the slave masters who were raping Black enslaved women and leaving their babies and then like, daddy's maybe mama's baby, right? Like, don't babies take the mother's free status because the daddies would be like, those ain't my kids. So like, listen, the first deadbeat dads is George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. They had babies with their slaves, with their enslaved women, and left. Actually, they would hire them to work in the house.
I was about to say they hired them
and didn't claim them as their kids though. So if we talking about daddies who didn't left their kids and who ain't been present and who don't claim them, we didn't start that in this country.
Meanwhile, the families that were on the plantation, they were separate. You might have want your family, your kids, and your wife but they sell your kids over here, your wife over there.
Yeah, on purpose.
Or they're
So
taking
you,
or the men are being sold off.
right. So you in your mind have to almost build up this kind of like, well, because they're going to be gone, right? So I'm like, you know what, you done.
Since our history, since our history, we didn't. This whole, this whole concept of like Black dads being absent or not being there or not being present, like that's a narrative that was constructed. I mean, to be honest, yes, there are definitely dads who don't show up. We know that there are dads, but it's not at a higher rate than other people, right? And so, the narrative was created for a reason.
Absolutely. So I have the one of the reports that it says percent of fathers 15 to 44 living with their children under 5 who on a daily basis do the following: fed or ate meals with them. For Black fathers, it's higher than white. Bathed or diapered or dressed them. For Black, it's higher than white. Played with them, it's the same. Read to them, Black is higher than white. So again, even the
what we be reading to our
kids. Right. This is from the CDC. So it's like, come on now. And it really, I think this was really helpful to dispel a lot of those stereotypes about Black dads. Even if they live with their kids or they don't, they're still able to come in and do those things. And a lot of them have to, because look, guess what? Both parents is working. So even if you don't live it, baby, you want to come over here and come get these kids. You got to help me work with, get these kids together. So I don't know. I'm just glad that we're starting to see that. But I also feel like we know the truth, but it's good to see this being studied in a way, statistically significant. It's in the literature. The CDC says it. So, okay, well, can y'all get up off our back on this? So I don't know. Talk some more. Let's have a conversation before we got about 10 minutes.
Well, I do want to, I think, whenever this, we're talking about fatherhood because Father's Day is on the horizon. And I know every time I talk about fatherhood, I get people have different experiences. So I do want to honor the folks who like dad was not present in their life or was in and out, or they papa was a Rolling Stone and all that stuff. Like we do have those stories. So I don't want to negate, I don't want to negate people's experiences. And, I want to honor that. And simultaneously, the way that the media has construed it to be like we have the highest or worst rates of fatherhood is false. And so I want to hold the both end of like, yes, your daddy, there's people whose dads were not as present. Some of those by choice and a lot of those by systematic, intentional interruption of families, like mass incarceration, the war on drugs. There's legit policies that require that a parent can't get access to aid if they have a father in the picture, right? So there's all these ways that systems actually intentionally try to sever our families. I remember growing up, like you couldn't have a man in the house if he was on Section 8, if he had like a record. And that was a large portion of our families because of the war on drugs. So I know that there's stats about it not working. And so I do want to honor that, but also, hold systems accountable and put blame where blame is. And a lot of that blame is within our systems and not necessarily like that Black dads are inherently flawed.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you for holding that space for both, because it is really, really important. Trina, can you talk about what kind of support or opportunities your organization offers for Black fathers? What are you doing?
Yes. Yeah. So I will first off by saying I am a woman. I'm a Black woman. I love and support and honor Black men. And because I'm a Black woman-led organization, I would say that the amount of Black men on my newsletter or that show up is low. So this is my clarion call. Black men, we trying to hold space for y'all. I am co-hosting an event for Father's Day. We call it Black Daddy Day. Last year we did it as a drive-through because, COVID was COVIDing. And so we were giving out gift boxes. We have free barbecues. That's what we did last year. And then this year we're hosting a conversation in the barber shop. I got my little flyer. We'll post it online. We'll add it to something. But it's called it's still Black Daddy Day. But it's about we're having cuts, combos, and co-parenting. So we're gonna be chatting it up. Listen, I'm gonna leave the barbershop, even though I do like a good lineup. I'm gonna let them have their space to have these authentic conversations. each other. And they'll get free haircuts. It's at a Black-owned barbershop in Compton called Barbarism, the shop. And I'm partnering with DJ Inspires, who does a lot of work around parenting advice and coaching, and he works with young people. So he's gonna facilitate the conversation. Also
Okay.
partnered with Dior Sunset, with another Black man, Clifford Jackson, who does work to support youth with autism and on the spectrum. And so he does that work and supporting that community. And so just trying to bring together the Black men that I know who are like intentionally trying to build community with other Black men. So if you know any Black men who are not doing anything, it's happening this Sunday. It's at 12 o'clock up in Compton. It's first come, first serve. So, inviting folks to fill out the Eventbrite. You can find us on Eventbrite, or you can look us up. We have a bit.ly. It's bit.ly/daddyday22. So yeah, I think that is one thing that we're doing. But we are also not trying to do one-offs. And I'm also, as a Black woman, not trying to like hold space for Black men because I don't have their lived experience. So I'm trying to collaborate with more Black men. So if you care about this issue, you care about parenting, you care about raising the next generation of Black boys and Black girls from a non-toxic masculinity place, and you want to support the next generation, like come to the event or, hit us up. I'm always looking for new board members. We need more Black men on our board. We need more Black men's voices at the table. Because it can't, we can't do this alone as Black women. We carry a lot. Our last conversation we had with y'all was about self-care and how it's exhausting to do all the things as Black women. So we need Black men, Black fathers to be a part of these conversations. And so I'm inviting people to, hit us up at Parenting for Liberation.
I think that is amazing.
I love it.
So we're gonna have to make sure you put that flyer on the Facebook, kind of stick it under there, and we'll start tagging people. I know some folks to make sure that they're on board and are aware, because I think it's really important. And I was also going to say, I know Black Women for Wellness also has every June. I know they do Bring a Brother to Breakfast, and I think it's this Friday. So I'll try to see if I can even tag that as well. So there's a lot of opportunity, and I know there are a lot of Black fathers that probably want, even maybe they're not doing so well and they want to do better. They don't know how. This is a way for them to get connected and try to figure out a way to make an impact in their communities where they may not know where to go or who to talk to. So I'm really happy to have you here, Trina, to talk to us about that. Let's kind of wrap up. Any closing thoughts, Nomsa, on Black fatherhood, and then we'll end with you, Trina, and then I'll tie it up with a bow.
I mean, I think what we all shared, right, is that there's this narrative that that gets put out there that our Black men are not the kings of our families, that they are not active, and we know from our own lived experience it varies, right? And it may look different, and it may not look like the same kind of Bob and Jane with the 2 kids and dog situation, right? It might be Michael and Keisha with with their kids, and Michael might got some more kids with Michelle, and they all might be coming together as one big family, and that's okay. But he's there, right? He's picking up the kids after school or dropping them off, or he has them for the weekend, or he's taking them to the amusement park. And a lot of it is also like time. I had shared earlier, I have a cousin who had a child young, and I used to say to him, and we talked about, I was like, sometimes it's not about money, it's the time you spend with your kids, right? It is those special moments. It is the, getting them dressed, feeding them, talking with them, watching them accomplishments, right? Going their games, reading, it's like this shocker, we read. But it's like those things, right? So it's it's not always sometimes about that money, but it is the time. And that to me is like, that's the real value of fatherhood, right? Is the time spent with kids. And that could be, and that father doesn't have to be the biological father. It could be that uncle that is stepping in as that male role model, that older brother, the neighbor, right? That coach. But it's making sure there is a positive influence, really helping them shape who they're gonna be as they go out into the world. And so I was like, that to me, those are the things that continue to lift up and support males, right? Because I think we have so many things for women, and like men kind of like, off on the side. And I think sometimes they feel left out. So as much as what we can do, like what Trina was talking about in partnering, because them co-connecting with other males, right? That shared experience and that real kind of connection. The more we see that, I think we start to see so much of just our communities, just in families, just thrive at a level that so others would be amazed by, right? We just got to let it happen.
Absolutely. And one thing that you said, and then I'll turn it over to you, Trina. The memories, the experiences over the money. Again, one of the earliest memories that I was able to even recall was me and my dad looking through the telescope, and he's showing me this book with stars and the moon and the this and the that and the constellations and stuff, or us having conversations around music, or again sitting at my great grandfather's on his lap, and he's teaching me, here's some old checks, go practice writing some checks. Like, it wasn't nothing about, oh, here I'm throwing you some money to go buy some shoes. It's like literally I'm experiencing life with them, and they're showing me things. Those are the things that I remember. I don't remember all the other stuff, the tennis shoes or the whatever. It's those experiences that I had when I went over their houses or when I was with my dad. So absolutely, dads, if you feel like, oh, I ain't got no money, I can't do this for my kids, take your kids to the park. Talk to your kids about what it was like for you growing up. Talk to them about your dreams. Talk to them about what you want for yourself and your future. All those kinds of things are so very, very important, because again, when these kids grow up, there's a lot of questions that they won't have answered because nobody sat down and talked to them.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very good point that you made, Nomsa. Trina, wrap it on up, and then I'm gonna shut it down.
Shut it down. That resonates a lot with me. I lost my dad in the top of 2020. I got it tatted on my hand. And what I do recall and what memories do live on are those intimate moments. My dad took me to the bus stop every day and like sat in the car with me and played music and taught me life lessons through Tupac and NWA. I don't, learned all the things I shouldn't do and should do based on some rap lyrics. It was his hood credentials. But he definitely instilled in me particular things that I'm never going to forget. Now, did he have money to buy me all the things? No. Does money matter? Yes. Money matters. You need money to take care of kids. I'm not going to say that money don't help. And, my mom did not say, well, since you can't give me money, then you can't be a kid. And I think that's where we have, some growth to do as a community to make sure that we do co-parent. And so those are some of the conversations we're going to have at the event. We're going to be talking about co-parenting in healthy ways. How do you still maintain relationships with children, even if you're not with the co-parent? And so I feel like that's super important. And I just want to continue to honor Black dads. They often say nothing happens for them. They get a pair of socks and maybe some t-shirts. That's it. Ain't nobody buying them nothing. They're like, on Father's Day, the restaurants ain't crowded. Can't get a seat for brunch like it is for Mother's Day. They like, the church ain't packed out on Father's Day like it is for Mother's Day. So they feel some kind of way. They didn't told me. They feel some kind of way. And so I said, you know what? We're going to do something just for y'all. We ordering Buffalo Wild Wings. You getting your hair cut. We even got a little bartender coming up to make you some of that hand and Coke like you want. Okay. So all the things. So come on down. I don't want to hear y'all mouth and say we don't do nothing for y'all Black daddies. We love y'all. We see y'all. We support y'all. And we giving away stuff. Y'all going to get a copy of this book. Actually, this is an extra copy. So I don't know, Nicole, if you do raffles or giveaways on your show, but I have an extra copy if any of the Black dads are watching and you want to do a giveaway. I have this one.
Something to think about.
Absolutely.
And we got all kind of stuff. The gift box is all hair related. So in the gift box, you got a special made hair oil. It could be for your beard or your head. I don't know. Some of y'all is bald, so you can put it on your face. We got the sponge brush thing, for the curls. We got the book. We got some Dove hand cream. We got, we got all the things. So, daddies, we thought about y'all specifically. Okay.
And although that box is for them, it is for us too, because we love a well moisturized, glistening black man. I don't know about y'all, but I do.
Yes, I don't want no ash. I don't want no ash.
We do want some shine, but yeah, we want to give y'all the same love that y'all feel like we don't necessarily give y'all. We want y'all to feel it so that y'all can reflect it back to us and to them babies.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm so excited. So we're going to make sure that the flyer gets onto the comments on the Facebook Live. I will tag folks so we can make sure you have a good turnout. I might draw myself a mustache and pull my hair back and maybe, put some, I might, don't say nothing. Okay. Just go with it.
That is
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
Listen, no mamas coming who say, I'm the mama and the daddy. I raised them kids. None of them can come either. We love you. No. Thank you for raising them kids. We saw you on Mother's Day.
Yes, you can't come back to the line. This was an amazing episode. I am going to make sure we get that flyer in the comment section. We will tag some folks. Thank you, Trina, for dropping by. I know it was a last minute situation, but I appreciate that. That's the beauty of the tribe. Can you come through? She was like, let me see. And we made it work.
Let me see.
Look at, I'm all grainy. I ain't in the best light and all that. But I mean,
that's all right. The message is loud and clear. Loud and clear.
That's right.
Yes. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Thank you all that are watching for joining. You can follow me on my social media. www.NicoleDVick.com is my website. I have 2 books you can pick up, Pushing Through, Finding the Light in Every Lesson, and my journal, Push Through, 52 Weeks of Light in Tough Times. I mean, that journal could work for a man. I mean, I'm just saying, Father's Day gift, I'm just saying. You can also catch me and my adult daughter on our weekly show, Pushing Through, on the first, third, and fourth Thursdays, and we be doing way too much. There's some videos coming up of us eating vegan beef jerky, and it was just a hot mess. We talk about all kind of things, so make sure you check us out as well. All right, you guys, we will see you next month. Thank you so much, and take care. Bye.
Bye.